Homecoming is here.
The time of year when alumni and students come together.
Coming up next, we'll take you behind the scenes of the play that brought laughter to the audiences this weekend.
Plus, in a surprising turn of events, the men's soccer game ends in a forfeit win for Milligan.
A 5K alumni race is becoming an event for families to enjoy together.
We'll take you on an adventure to the fun of Trunk or Treat.
We'll also give you a tour of our recent studio upgrade.
And later, I'll talk to alumni about student challenges then versus now.
This special homecoming edition of Stampede TV begins now. Welcome to this special homecoming edition of Stampede TV. I'm Carissa Romero.
And I'm Mitchell Hancock. We'll get to all the homecoming action in a moment. But first, we begin with breaking news.
Stampede's Daniel Peacock has been following this story. He joins us now with more.
Thank you, Carissa and Mitchell. The Stampede has confirmed men's soccer coach Adam Laney will no longer be serving as a coach for Milligan College. Laney says athletic director Mark Fox told him in a meeting on October 3rd that he would finish the remainder of the season, but his employment would end once the season finished. Laney declined to speak on camera, but agreed to an audio-recorded interview.
I wasn't given any specifics. Again, I can make assumptions that it's based on results.
This is Laney's 10th season as head coach. We also reached out to athletic director Mark Fox twice for an interview, but he declined to comment. We are also reaching out to members of the men's soccer team for comment. We'll continue to follow this developing story and bring you more information as it becomes available on our website, milliganstampede.com. Carissa and Mitchell.
Thanks, Daniel.
The homecoming festivities began earlier in the week with a series of events hosted by student government.
Activities range from pie to a color war, bringing students together.
Homecoming kicked off with events led by SGA. Each day leading up to the big homecoming weekend was sponsored by a different class. On Monday, the executive team hosted their annual Apple Fest, providing fall-themed drinks and snacks for the evening.
Today was the execs' day to do homecoming. We did Apple Fest, so we went and got a ton of apples and stuff for them to put on it, just kind of for a fellowship thing to just grab and go on your way to class and on your way to do homework, whatever you feel like doing.
Tuesday's event was led by the sophomore class. Fresh fruit and field games were available for students in between classes outside of Durthick Hall. Wednesday was a dark and cold evening, but the junior class brightened up the night with color wars.
Color Wars, we did it last year for SGA for Alumni Weekend. It was a huge hit, so we decided to do it again this year. It could have gone better. It's still fun, but the cold weather kind of kept everyone inside, and the JV basketball game had a big turnout. Next year, if it's warm, we'll probably do the same thing. We'll probably continue Color Wars, but if it's not warm, we'll probably change it up a little bit. I think in addition to food, always tends to bring out more people, so we might try to include food next year.
Despite the cold, a few students still showed up for this event. And on Thursday, the senior class got pies from Buttermilk Sky Pie to give to students. This was just another opportunity for students to stop by at their leisure and enjoy a nice snack. And finally, on Friday, the freshman class would host a movie night. Carissa Romero reporting for Stampede TV.
You've likely noticed a clearer picture on this Stampede TV.
It's all thanks to a recent studio upgrade. Stampede TV producer Caleb Perney joins us now from the control room with details.
Hey Carissa and Mitchell, we're very excited about this new upgrade. We've got a new video switcher here and it'll really improve the way we bring you the news. In addition to that, it'll also be used for Milligan's sports streams. We've got a much clearer picture, but we'll also be adding some new features like the virtual set integration that you're seeing on our broadcast today. as well as some other cool stuff that we've got on here. We've got Skype calls integrated, which will allow us to put live reporters on location, and we'll be able to interview students who are studying abroad or maybe even alumni that are doing cool things on other sides of the planet. This is one of the few, or really the only mixer of its kind that does full 1080p streaming, which means that we will be able to give you live breaking news reports on our YouTube channel. If you're a subscriber to that, you may have gotten a notification the other day when we tested it and it went out live. But it will also provide a full HD signal for the first time on Milligan's sports stream, so you'll definitely want to check that out in the coming weeks as we get more used to it. Mitchell and Carissa?
The music department joined in the homecoming festivities with their concert titled On Broadway. The show took place Saturday afternoon. It featured several of musical numbers from plays like Fiddler on the Roof and South Pacific. The concert showcased the orchestra, concert choir, and Milligan's a cappella group Heritage.
Well, we started rehearsing probably about mid to late September, and we talked about some different arrangements and props we were going to use, that we decided to just make it as simple as possible, and it worked out really, really well.
2 Milligan alumni were able to show off some of their artwork in the Derthick Art Gallery over the weekend.
Stampede TV's Ike Ndulue has more on why these alumni view art as so important.
Over the weekend, the art department hosted an exhibition in the art gallery at Derthick Hall. The exhibition, titled Polychromatic, featured works from Lauren Anderson and Kristen Colson. Both are Milligan graduates and currently work as therapists.
Got that moment right there.
Almost as
The works on display are a combination of photography, paintings, and a sculpted piece. Here's Lauren on how art has helped with therapy.
I think it helps a lot with my patients for them to participate. They're very interested in the art, or they haven't been interested in anything, and then I get them introduced to the art and they start enjoying it. I actually developed a program for a nursing home that put high-functioning patients and low-functioning patients together, and then they did art projects together, and they started like interacting with each other and doing things instead of just sitting in the hallway, and they started giving people artwork and things like that they were doing, and it was really, really neat.
I asked Kristen her thoughts on if art has been rewarding.
That's rewarding, and I've gotten to do go on some art mission trips overseas and use the art, even though I'd like to do art more like in a job setting, so even though I haven't gotten to do that as much as I would like, I would say I'd still gotten to do it in a lot of other avenues.
This is Ike Ndulue reporting for StampedeTV.
More homecoming coverage is coming up after the break. Abby Guksa will take us behind the scenes of this year's homecoming play.
And later, we'll talk to alumni about how student challenges have changed over the years. Stay tuned.
2 national championships in 1 year. It was the first time it had ever happened before.
It was kind of one of those surreal moments, at the time you don't really realize, the magnitude of what you've done.
When one person has an accomplishment, we all celebrate. Because we're in this together. We are Stampede TV, Milligan's student-operated news source.
I used to think news is news. It's all the same. But it's not. There's a big difference between local broadcast news and cable news. See, local stations are part of my community, connecting me to local news, weather, and sports on every device. It makes sense. Get the news from the people I trust who actually live here. No agenda, no bias like on cable shout shows or social media, just facts. For news I can trust, I stay local. Support your local stations. Text TV to 52886 today.
Study. Have a goal. Stick to it.
Look for opportunities to make the most of everything.
Set a goal.
If you can possibly set a goal in your life and go for it and never look back.
Take every day and enjoy every day for what it is, because it goes by very, very quickly. And before you know it, you're the awkward alumni who's coming around here feeling like you don't know anybody.
One of the highlights of homecoming weekend was the Minecme, a comedy that I got to be a part of.
Stampede TV's Abby Guksa takes us behind the scenes of the play.
This weekend, the theater department performed the Minecme with the direction of Professor Richard Major. The theater department performed the play for students and alumni at the McLaughlin Street Theater in Gregory Center.
This play was very popular around 200 BC, I'm sorry. And it is a play about mistaken identity.
Professor Major did a production of the Minecme 25 years ago here at Milligan. This time, the show was cut so the running time was at 65 minutes. This allowed the show to run without an intermission. Director of Tech Service for Gregory, Pamela Adelphi, designed the play.
Pamela Adelphi is our resident scenic designer, costume designer, lighting designer, and also our technical director.
Adelphi also built a set with the help of crew members. Lucas Williams contributed more than his acting talent to the play.
Being involved in hair and makeup and being in the production, it's a little stressful, but I'm used to it.
The cast and crew enjoyed performing and working on the play.
A lot of laughter, a lot of drama. It's a very fast-paced show, so it's a lot of fun.
Samuel Kelly says the play has been a great experience.
It's been great. It's been really fun to get to meet all the different really interesting people and work together towards a common goal and hopefully get it done. I think it's coming along really nicely at this point.
The audience enjoyed the colorful costumes and dramatic scenes.
Well, the show was great. I came to support my friend Erin. It was funny, and we were learning about Roman humanity, so it was pretty good.
This is Abby Guksa reporting for Stampede TV.
Students and alumni gathered together to watch Homecoming Parade on Saturday. Bill and Edwina Greer kicked off the parade by welcoming students and alumni from the back of the truck. Other organizations in the parade included SGA, The Herd, Science Club, nursing students, and the Milligan cheer and dance teams. Senior Nick Baylor was happy to participate before he graduated as part of SGA.
You know, after hearing about it after all these years, it's like, oh wow, it actually meant something because you could actually look into people's eyes and see the joy.
I'm Cody Carlson. Coming up next in sports, I'll have the details on alumni basketball, soccer, and all the homecoming sports action. Stay tuned.
I would just encourage them that after school is over, you'll find your path and God has a great plan for you. And yeah, you'll just find your way and He'll be there right alongside you the whole time.
So learn the value of silence, learn the value of what it means to sit in a quiet place with a book. This is a time in your life when you have that luxury, when that's what's demanded of you, to find time, to carve out time to just read and think and have good conversations.
Hammocks. They're one of our favorite pastimes. Student leaders promise new mounts behind dorms to make things even easier.
It's going to allow for hopefully 14 hammocks.
But when a year passed with no mounts, we asked why.
The hammock mounts that had not been installed a year after the plan was announced.
Those interview requests were declined. The very next morning, those mounts were installed. We stuck with the story until the very end, because we are in this together. We are Stampede TV, Milligan's student-operated news source.
I realized that I'm not perfect, but it all really started to change because you judge me for having a problem. No one is going to know that I need help. I need help. I know that no one is going to judge me for having a problem. I realize that I'm not perfect, but it all really started to change because you listen.
The men's basketball team held their annual alumni game over homecoming weekend. The alumni game was a friendly game between the current and past players. There was a lot of people packed inside the Steve Lacey Fieldhouse as both teams fought hard. Head coach Bill Robinson also took part in the game as he laced up his basketball shoes to join in the game. There was no score taken, so both teams will be listed as winners. The men's basketball team returns to the Steve Lacy Fieldhouse November 14th to open up Appalachian Athletic Conference play against Truett McConnell. The women's basketball team also held an alumni game. The women's alumni game was a friendly game between past players and was coached by Rich Aubrey. The Steve Lacy Fieldhouse was packed with families and alumni to witness the game. At halftime, the families were encouraged to shoot free throws on the main court. There was also no score for the women's game, so both teams will go down as winners. The women's soccer team picked up a big win on homecoming weekend. It was homecoming weekend and also senior day for the women's soccer team. The seniors recognized were Brittany Davis, Taylor Hatmaker, Sama Joy, and Vanessa Quinones. The women's soccer team was facing Appalachian Athletic Conference foe, Grinnell University. During the first 12 minutes, Ellie Caceres scored 2 goals. The Lady Buffs would go on to score 4 more goals in the first half to take 6-0 lead at the break. Thanks to solid defense in the second half, the Lady Buffs cruised to a 6-1 win over Grinnell. The Lady Buffs improved to 12-1-3 in AAC play and 12-2-3 overall. The women's soccer team will get ready for the AAC tournament on November 1st as they await the winner of Grinnell and Columbia. The men's soccer team ended the season with a forfeit win on homecoming weekend. The team took on Pfeiffer University in a friendly non-conference game. The game was played in terrible weather conditions as the rain let loose on Agland Field. The men's soccer team honored Jack Allen, Harrison Gunseal, Noah Hickerson, Jesse Romeo, Nick Smith, and Josh Willard on senior night. During the first half, senior Jesse Romeo scored twice. The Buffs would go on to the second half with a 3-0 lead on Pfeiffer. However, during the halftime break, the game was forfeited by Pfeiffer, and none of the stats would count. The men's soccer team improved the record to 2-15-1. Now here are the scores for the other recent games. Women's soccer had a series of wins. They won 5-1 over St. Andrews last Saturday. Also 4-2 over Columbia on Wednesday. The men's team lost to St. Andrews 5-1. And in volleyball, the women's team lost to St. Andrews 3-2 and won over Tennessee Wesleyan 3-1. More of the special homecoming edition of Stampede TV is coming up. We'll take you to the alumni race that is becoming an event for the entire family. And later, Mitchell Hancock will talk with alumni about how student challenges have changed. But first, more advice from former students.
Leave your dorm door open. People are much more willing to come and talk to you if you leave your door open.
Don't compromise on your bedtime.
Enjoy dorm life, because never again will you live with that many women and have that many closets to choose clothes from.
So I would say, leave your door open, be friendly. If people actually come and talk to you, hang out. Get to know people you live down the hall from.
A shooting on campus. It's something we hope will never happen. But it seems to be happening more and more often. We asked questions and discovered what you should do if it ever occurs here.
You could have 22 city officers in that vicinity within 10 minutes.
Now guidelines are posted in every building. It's potentially life-saving information because we're in this together. We're Stampede TV, Milligan's student-operated news source.
A race that began as a way for Milligan alumni to enjoy campus together is continuing to raise money for scholarships now 15 years later.
As Stampede TV's Caleb Perney discovered, the race has grown from an alumni event into something for the whole family.
Hey, good luck, everybody!
Early at 8 a.m. on Saturday morning, people gathered for the Buffalo 5K. It's an event that began 15 years ago as an alumni race, but now it's become an event for families to enjoy together. 11-year-old Cole Talty runs cross-country at home. She says it's a great way to get some alone time.
I have 3 younger siblings, and sometimes it's just great to get away from it all and just run and feel like you can go do something without having 3 little monsters tagging along all the time.
Talty ran with her dad, Brian. He's a member of the class of 2003. Race organizer Rick Gray says about 50 to 70 people usually attend the race. It's sponsored by the Associated Ladies for Milligan as a way to raise money for scholarships.
My wife and I are both graduates of Milligan, and so it's just something to give back to the college that we enjoy, and of course we enjoy running.
The race takes multiple laps across campus. It's considered a way for returning alumni to get to see and enjoy everything again. For some, the terrain also adds to the experience.
This is as tough a course. I live in Michigan, it's all flat, so this is as tough a course as I ever. I'll be stiff tomorrow from those hills.
Good job, guys!
Throughout the race, participants are cheered on and encouraged by Milligan cheerleaders and volunteers like Gray. Talty says she enjoyed getting to do something she loves with her dad and brother.
It was really fun, and I got to do it with one of the less annoying siblings with me, so.
When she crossed the finish line, she ended up 3rd place for women overall. Caleb Perney, Stampede TV.
This year, the children's inflatables were moved to Steve Lacey Fieldhouse due to rain. Inflatables included a bouncy house, a maze for laser tag, an obstacle course inside of a dinosaur, and a small playground. A large tarp covered most of the basketball court to play other games such as Frisbee. Milligan admissions provided music, while popcorn was provided at the door. Although kids used all of the inflatables, there seemed to be a clear favorite.
My favorite thing was Laser Invader, the one with lasers.
My favorite part about it was laser tag.
My favorite thing about the inflatables was that they were fun, and in that one we got to hide.
Link hosted its Halloween trunk or treat on Monday night.
Stampede TV's Kayla Baker takes us to the fun and excitement.
Trunk or Treat, the annual Halloween event where children from all over the community line up to celebrate Halloween with free candy. Link has now hosted this event for over 11 years and looks forward to the joy it brings to children each year.
We host this event each year because we want to bring the community together and have family-friendly fun each year.
Students participate by dressing up in their favorite costume and give away candy to over 400 kids. Teams, clubs, and academic departments are some of the groups who take part in this event and even pick a theme to go along with their trunk.
The theme this year is Into the Wild, so the softball team is dressed as animals.
Students were creative this year with themes like Winnie the Pooh, The Lion King, and Ninja Turtles. Hey guys, we are here with the Ninja Turtles and they are having a blast, and they even have a game, and if you make it in, you get a piece of candy. Oh, so close. Oh, we're close. All right, let me see if I can make this one. Oh, if I would have made it, I got candy, but maybe next year. We are here with the OT program, and each year they do a car, and this year they are the Lion King. Go ahead and sing it for us.
It's our problem-free philosophy.
Sing it, guys.
Hakuna Matata.
All right, the OT program has one of the best here, and they are the Lion King. Getting dressed up and giving away all kinds of candy is all part of the Halloween festivities, but there's more to it.
My favorite part of Trunk or Treat is when all the little kids come up to the car and they're dressed as different things, and you get to recognize them for who they are, and they spot up their faces.
This event has been a success for not only Milligan and students, but for many kids in the community as well. Link looks to continue to host this event each year. Kayla Baker reporting for Stampede TV.
Next on Stampede.
I'll talk to alumni about what's changed since their time in college.
This special homecoming edition of Stampede TV continues after this.
I would say you're in this really beautiful part of the country with some beautiful people. Get out into the mountains and spend some time in the community too.
Go to the mountains, hike, enjoy the walks in the beautiful hills, and hanging out with classmates, throwing an ultimate frisbee. Enjoy all of it.
And hang out with the mountain people.
The mountain people. But be careful. But
the right mountain.
The right mountain people. Yes.
They're coming. Places, everybody.
Light check. 1, 2, 1, 2.
Everything looks good on our end.
And lights.
come alive with the forest. Visit discovertheforest.org to find a forest near you.
Graduation. It's one of the biggest moments for each of us, but overcrowding meant that we could no longer have just one ceremony. For some, this meant sharing the event with your entire family. For others, splitting up this community.
I know it's not expected and change is hard, but we had this idea we would all matriculate together and we would all graduate together.
We provided you with a voice on an important issue because we're in this together. We are Stampede TV, Milligan's student-operated news source.
You're watching Mitchell Hancock and Carissa Lamero, Cody Carlson with sports, and the rest of the Stampede TV team.
Stampede TV's Kayla Baker joins us now for a look at what's coming up on the next Stampede TV.
Carissa, Mitchell, coming up on the next Stampede TV, we'll take a look at a project engineering students are working on that could bring air conditioning to dorms. See how they're solving the problem, and style makeover. Our Stampede producer, Kayla Perney, will get a makeover from news editor Kennedy Weber. You definitely won't want to miss that. It's all coming up on the next Stampede, Friday, November 17th.
Thanks, Kayla.
A lot has changed since many alumni were last on campus.
Students face new and different struggles.
I interviewed a few alumni to find out what they think students' biggest struggles are today.
They got it easy. what they spoiled.
The culture, probably. Yeah. The music and the rock and roll, free sex and all kinds of things going on that wasn't there when we were here.
I think some of it's technology.
Oh, definitely the cell phone.
They don't know how to talk to people.
Oh,
maybe?
There you go, yeah. Proper socializing skills.
So I would say the distraction of, I'm just gonna check my social media of choice for 10 minutes and then 2 hours later you're still on it. So like the distraction of social media and the lack of community, we didn't have to deal with that.
The amount of distractions, I think the world we live in right now is just so full of distractions, whether it's technology or media, just things that are coming at us constantly, the information that's coming at us constantly.
So we didn't have cell phones and Snapchat and things to be distracted with right here. So we had to entertain ourselves. Sometimes we got in trouble, but it did bring us together.
Like when I walked around campus, I talked to who I was beside. And we had a phone in our room, and you may or may not use it. And I just feel like we still have a great community here at Milligan, but I feel like students today are missing some of that community that I got to experience, because when you walk to class, you talk to the people you're with, not on the phone. And I feel like that is taking away some of the community of Milligan.
As a whole, you know, when we were at Milligan, there was no cell phones to kind of look at. So when you're in the hallway waiting for your class to open up, you had to deal with the awkward silence. You had to talk to each other. Whereas you don't have to talk to each other as much now.
It's true.
Yeah.
I think it's really hard for college students transitioning out of school to be able to get into the workforce. So I think that's something that college can just continue to help students with, is just finding job placement once they get done with school.
A struggle that I feel like kids nowadays have that I maybe didn't is just a lot of social pressure. I feel like every year there's more and more just to do a great job at everything and have your life figured out, and to be making a lot of progress each semester, just to get wonderful grades and be involved in a lot of extracurriculars and have everything on point all the time.
My sister's on campus now. That's a struggle I didn't have to deal with. Only 1 year.
And that's all the time we have for this edition of Stampede TV.
For the latest news information, visit us online at milliganstampede.com.
And be sure to check us out on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, and YouTube.
More campus, community, and world news is in our print edition in newsstands around campus.
Thanks for watching. I'm Mitchell Hancock.
And I'm Carissa Lamero. Join us again for our final newscast of the semester on November 17th. Have a great rest of your day.